The night it all started, I was supposed to be on a flight to Chicago for a business conference. That's what Jessica thought. Anyway, I had packed my bags, kissed her on the cheek, and even let her drop me off at the airport. She had smiled at me through the car window, waved goodbye, and told me to call when I landed. I had every intention of going. I had my boarding pass, my itinerary, even the stupid complimentary drink voucher from the airline tucked into my pocket. But something did not sit right. A gut feeling, a whisper in the back of my mind that told me to turn around. So I did. Instead of going through security, I walked right back out the doors, caught a cab, and went home. I did not tell her I was coming back. I did not even check my phone. I just needed to see something, anything to prove that I was being paranoid, that my wife of 19 years was not lying to my face every single day. When I got home, the house was dark, silent. It was barely past 9. If she had gone to bed, fine. But the moment I stepped inside, I felt it. The emptiness, the absence of her, the house did not feel lived in. There was no TV murmuring in the background. No sound of water running, no light spilling from under the bedroom door, just cold, motionless air. Her car was not in the driveway. I stood there for a full minute, trying to give myself a reasonable explanation. She had gone out, maybe to get food, maybe to see a friend. But then I saw her laptop sitting open on the dining table. The screen still glowing. She never left it behind. Not unless she was in a hurry. I walked over. And the moment I touched the mouse, the screen came to life. Messages. A conversation left open. Mid-reply? I do not even think she realized she had left it there. Because if she had, she would have cleared everything. The messages were not from a saved contact. Just a number. But the conversation was clear as day. Him. Same time. Same place. Her, of course. I'll tell him I'm home watching Netflix. Him. Perfect. See, not wait. Her. Wear that shirt I love. Him. Only if you wear that red dress. I did not move. Did not blink. Did not even breathe. I just stood there. Reading those same messages over and over. Waiting for them to change. But they did not. The words stayed the same. And just like that, everything unraveled. It was not the first time. The way they talked. The ease, the shorthand, the inside jokes. This was not some spontaneous mistake. This was a routine. A habit. A second life she had built behind my back. And I had been blind to it. I looked at the time. 9:13 p.m. I scrolled up. The last time they met was Tuesday. The time before that last Friday. 2 days a week. Every week. I could feel my own pulse hammering in my throat as I read more. Details. Locations. A hotel, the Oakwood room 214. Every single time. I did not know whether to laugh or throw something. She was predictable at least. So I grabbed my keys and I drove. I was not thinking. Not really. The world outside passed in a blur of headlights and neon signs. But I barely saw any of it. My hands were steady. My mind sharper than it had ever been. If she thought she was smart, that she had everything under control, that she could lie straight to my face and get away with it, then she had severely underestimated me. I pulled into the parking lot at exactly 9:37. The Oakwood was the kind of place that did not ask questions. Low lights, tinted windows, just out of the way enough that no one you knew would ever see you there. Her car was already parked. I sat there staring at it. The reality sinking in. She had been here so many times. In that same room with him, laughing, touching, whispering the kind of things she used to say to me. I got out of the car. I walked into that hotel right past the receptionist who did not even glance up. Room 214 was at the end of the hall. I could hear voices behind the door muffled low, but hers was unmistakable. I knocked. Silence, then footsteps, a hesitant pause, and then the click of the lock turning. The door opened just a fraction enough for me to see his face. A stranger, some random guy who had no idea that the worst moment of his life was about to begin. He did not get a word out before I shoved the door open. The door slammed open so hard it hit the wall. The guy stumbled back, eyes wide, his mouth opening like he was about to protest, but then he saw my face. I must have looked insane because he froze, hands up like I had a weapon. Jessica was sitting on the edge of the bed wearing that stupid red dress, her legs crossed, wine glass in hand. For a second, she did not react. Like her brain could not process what was happening. Then, as if a switch flipped, her face twisted. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she snapped, standing up. That was her first response. Not shock. Not guilt. Not even an attempt to explain. Just anger. I let out a slow breath, stepping inside and shutting the door behind me. The guy, the pathetic excuse for a man, was still standing there, shifting his weight like he was debating whether to run or fight. "Sit down," I said to him, voice calm. Jessica's head snapped toward him like a warning, like she did not want him listening to me. "No, do not. You do not have to do anything he says." I ignored her. "Sit down." And he did. I guess something in my voice convinced him he did not want to find out what would happen if he did not. He dropped onto the chair in the corner, gripping the armrests like they might save him. Jessica scoffed, rolling her eyes. "You being insane right now." I looked at her. I really looked at her, the way she squared her shoulders, the way she tilted her chin up, trying to act like she had any control over this situation. She was not sorry. She was not ashamed. She was annoyed that I had caught her. "I was supposed to be in Chicago," I said, voice even. She folded her arms. "Yeah, you were. Why are you here?" I let out a laugh. A real one. Unbelievable. "Why am I here?" I repeated, nodding. "That's what you're going with." She rolled her eyes again like I was wasting her time. "You do not get to barge in here and act like a psychopath. You have no idea what's going on." "No idea?" I stepped closer. "So explain it to me, Jessica. Explain what exactly I'm misunderstanding." She exhaled sharply like she was gathering patience for a child. "It's not what you think." "Really?" "Yes, really?" She shot a glare at the guy who was still sitting there like a trapped animal. "Ethan is just Ethan." I repeated his name, turning toward him. He flinched. "Ethan, how long have you been sleeping with my wife?" His eyes flicked to Jessica, waiting for instructions. She gave him a look and I knew. I knew right then that she ran this whole thing, that she was the one in control, that this guy, this pathetic idiot, was just a pawn. "Do not answer that," she snapped at him. Then, turning back to me, "I do not owe you any explanations." Something dark and quiet settled inside me. "No? No," she repeated, stepping closer like she was about to lecture me. "I told you, you're overreacting. You're reacting like some crazy jealous every Tuesday, every Friday." Room 214. Her mouth shut. Ethan's face turned white. I tilted my head. "Want to try again?" Jessica's nostrils flared. "Were you spying on me?" I huffed out a laugh. "You unbelievable." "No, you unbelievable," she snapped. "You do not trust me, you follow me around like some creep, and now you trying to intimidate Ethan, intimidate." I looked at him. He was shaking. Jessica saw it too, and that seemed to piss her off more than anything. She turned on him. "Oh my God, grow a spine. He's not going to do anything to you." Ethan swallowed hard but did not speak. I stepped toward Jessica, dropping my voice. "How long?" She sighed, crossing her arms. "Why does it matter?" "How long?" She tilted her head, lips pressing together like she was considering something. Then, with a slow, satisfied smirk, she said, 2 years, 2 years." I stared at her, something cold crawling through my veins. She smiled like she had won something. And that's when I knew she did not care. She had never cared. She had been waiting for this moment. She wanted me to break, to snap, to scream, maybe so she could flip it on me. Maybe so she could tell herself that I was the problem. But I was not going to give her the satisfaction. Instead, I smiled, calm, controlled, unshaken. Then I leaned in, just enough for her to hear, and whispered, "I know about the $11 million. Her smirk disappeared. For the first time that night, Jessica froze. That smirk, that smug, arrogant little tilt of her lips, vanished like someone had yanked the floor out from under her. Her eyes flickered, just for a second. But it was enough. Enough to tell me she knew exactly what I was talking about. Ethan, the coward, still had his head down, probably praying to whatever god he believed in that he could just evaporate. But I was not paying attention to him anymore. This was between me and her now. She swallowed. I saw her move. She was calculating. I had spent 2 years in the dark. And now in a single second, I had flipped the entire game. What are you talking about?" she said. And I almost laughed at how bad she was at lying under pressure. I leaned back watching her, letting her squirm. "You know exactly what I'm talking about, Jessica." Her hands twitched at her sides. "Good." She was nervous. But she tried to cover it up, crossing her arms, forcing out a scoff. "Oh, please, you're just making things up now. What, you think this is some movie? You think you're some mastermind uncovering a grand conspiracy?" I did not respond. I just kept watching her because she had no idea what I knew. And that terrified her. She forced out a laugh. "You're pathetic. You got caught stalking me. And now you're trying to throw around some nonsense to distract from the fact that you're a paranoid psycho. I see not believe I married such a shut-up Jessica." Her mouth snapped shut. I had never spoken to her like that before. I stepped closer, just enough to watch her pupils dilate to hear the slight hitch in her breath. "That money," I said, voice steady, "that money is mine. Every single cent of it." She blinked. "That's not all, but it is." I smiled, slow and deliberate. "You thought you were so damn smart. Did not you? You thought I was just some idiot businessman who would never notice a few missing numbers. You thought I'd be too busy working to even question why money kept disappearing from the company accounts. But here's the thing, sweetheart," I leaned in. "I've known for months." Her breath hitched. Ethan shifted uncomfortably in his chair. I had almost forgotten he was still there. Jessica blinked rapidly, trying to recover, trying to find an angle. But I could see it, panic creeping into her carefully constructed mask. She had not expected this. She had been prepared for anger, for heartbreak, for screaming, for me to shove Ethan up against the wall and throw punches. But she had not been prepared for me to be in control. I could almost hear the wheels turning in her head, trying to figure out how much I knew, how much trouble she was actually in. She swallowed again. And when she spoke, her voice was softer, almost coaxing. "Babe, listen. I think you've misunderstood something." I grinned. There it was. The switch. From aggressive to manipulative in under 5 seconds. But it was too late for that now. "Misunderstood," I repeated, tilting my head. "Let me get this straight. You stole from me, I did not steal, and you've been sneaking off to meet your little boy toy here. Stop twisting things. You do not even know I ignored her. And you thought, what? That you'd eventually leave me? Take half of everything? Run off into the sunset with him." She flinched. Ethan looked up suddenly like he had not known the part. "Interesting." Jessica whipped her head toward him, her face darkening. "Do not listen to him, baby. He's just trying to mess with us." Baby? I almost laughed out loud. Ethan frowned. "Wait, what is he talking about?" She clenched her jaw. "He's just making things up." "I'm really not," I said, pulling my phone out of my pocket. "Would you like to see the transfer receipts?" Jessica went pale. Ethan, now suddenly very interested, looked between us. "Transfers," he repeated. "Wait, what is he saying?" I smiled at him. "She's been funneling money out of my business for the past 2 years. Hundreds of thousands at a time. You did not know?" His face dropped. Jessica spun on me, her eyes full of venom. "You absolute." "I froze the accounts this morning." I cut in smoothly, watching her face contort. All of them silence, complete, suffocating silence. Jessica's mouth opened, then closed. Her jaw clenched so tight, I thought she might break her teeth. Ethan sat there, blinking, his tiny little world crashing down around him. I stepped back, adjusting my watch. So here's what's going to happen. Jessica's fists clenched at her sides. You see not? Oh, but I can, I said, voice light. You're going to pack your things and be out of my house by the time I get home. No lawyers, no arguments, no divorce settlements. Because if you fight me on this, I held up my phone. I send everything to the IRS. Jessica actually staggered back. Like I had physically struck her. Ethan looked like he was going to be sick. I smiled. I hope you two are happy together. Really, because you're about to have nothing else. And with that I turned and walked out. But this was not over. Not yet. I walked out of that hotel with a kind of calm I had not felt in years. Controlled, cold, calculated. It was not the numbness of shock. It was clarity, a quiet, absolute certainty that I had won. Jessica and Ethan were still up in that room, scrambling, panicking, breaking apart in real time. I almost wished I could stay to watch the fallout. Almost. But I had bigger plans. By the time I got into my car, my phone was already ringing. Jessica, I did not answer. I started the engine and drove. She called again. And again, I let it ring, each time enjoying the irony. For 2 years. She had ignored me every time she was with him. And now she could not get me to pick up. By the time I got home, the calls had stopped. A text came through instead. Jessica, we need to talk. No, we really do not. I walked into the house, locking the door behind me. The house that was mine. Not ours. Mine. She did not know it yet, but every single thing in this place was about to be stripped from her grasp. I poured myself a drink and sat down in my office, pulling up my laptop. There was still work to do. See, I had not just frozen the accounts. That was only step 1. Step 2, a full forensic audit. I logged into my secured files and pulled up everything I had been compiling over the past 6 months. Bank transfers, emails, even burner accounts she thought I did not know about. She had been sloppy. So damn sloppy. At first, I thought she had gotten cocky, but now I realized the truth she never expected me to find out. She saw me as predictable. Safe. A fool. And that was the greatest mistake she ever made. I opened up a draft email and started attaching files. My lawyer was going to love this. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of Jessica pounding on the front door. I did not move. I did not rush to open it. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, letting her scream herself hoarse. Open the damn door. Bang. Bang. You do not get to do this, you petty vindictive piece of all. There it was. The real Jessica, the one beneath all the fake smiles and sweet nothings. I finally got up, stretched, and made my way downstairs. Calm. Unbothered. I pulled open the door just as she raised her fist to pound again. She stumbled forward, catching herself. And she looked like hell. Her mess. Yesterday's makeup smudged. Red room dyes. She must have been up all night. Good morning, I said. Voice light. She shoved past me, storming inside like she still had a right to be here. You think this is funny? I shut the door behind her. A little bit. She whirled on me. You had no right to freeze those accounts. I took a sip of my coffee, unbothered. Oh, I had every right. You stole from me. From my company. Did you really think I would not notice? Her lips parted just for a second? A crack in the mask. Then just like that, she switched tactics. The anger melted into tears. She sniffled, reaching for my arm. Baby, I made a mistake. I stepped back before she could touch me. Do not. Her hand hovered in the air for a second before she dropped it. Shoulders shaking. Please, you do not understand. I tilted my head. No, I think I understand perfectly. You drained hundreds of thousands of dollars from our accounts. You slept with another man for 2 years. You planned to divorce me and take half of everything I built. Her breath hitched. You knew, she whispered. I grinned. Oh, I knew. I knew for a while. That's why I made sure the company assets were never legally tied to you. Her face went completely blank. I let that sink in. You thought you were going to bleed me dry, huh? I said, leaning against the counter. Take the money. Take the house. Maybe even take the kids. If you could spin it right? She blinked rapidly. Like she was malfunctioning. We have joined accounts. Oh, you mean the accounts that I already emptied? Silence. Her breathing picked up. No. No, you would not. Would not I? I tilted my head. You really do not know me at all. Do you, Jess? She lunged. Not at me, at my phone. I dodged easily, grabbing her wrist. Ah, you do not get to touch my things anymore. She tried again, more desperate this time, but I was faster. I shoved her back lightly. And she stumbled, her breath coming in short gasps. This is not happening, she whispered, shaking her head. You see, not. I would not let you. You do not have a choice, I said simply. The house? Mine. The money? Mine. The company? Mine. She staggered back, her whole body trembling. You see, not just leave me with nothing. I smiled. Cold. Cruel. That's where you wrong, Jessica. You left yourself with nothing. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, panic setting in. You're not thinking straight, okay? We can talk about this. We can figure something out. There's nothing to figure out. I walked to the door and held it open. Now get the hell out of my house. She just stood there, frozen. For a second, I thought she might beg. But no, Jessica never begged. She calculated. And right now, she was trying to find a way to slither out of this. But she would not. Not this time. She turned slow and stiff, walking past me toward the door. Just as she stepped outside, she paused. She did not look back. But her voice was cold, sharper than ever. You're going to regret this. And then she walked away. I watched her go, the weight lifting off my chest. No, Jessica, you're the one who's going to regret this. Because I was not done yet. I stood in the doorway, watching Jessica storm down the driveway. She did not turn around. She did not beg. That was not her style. No, Jessica was the kind of woman who waited, who plotted. She was already planning her next move, already spinning the narrative in her head. I was the villain now, the abusive, controlling husband who had left her penniless after one little mistake. I almost admired the audacity. Almost. As soon as her car disappeared down the street, I shut the door, locked it, and exhaled. Now for the final phase. I walked back to my office and sat down at my desk. My laptop was already open. The emails already drafted. All it took was a single click. The first email went to my lawyer, subject proceed with divorce filing. The second went to my company's financial team, subject immediate audit and full investigation of unauthorized transactions. The third, well, that one was a little more personal. I pulled up a special email thread. One Jessica had no idea existed. One she would never have thought to look for, subject to whom it may concern fraudulent activity within my business. This email went directly to the IRS. Jessica thought she was smart. She thought she could siphon money, shift accounts, hide her trail. But she was not careful enough. She had left just enough breadcrumbs for me to tie her directly to the financial discrepancies. And now she was about to have a very unpleasant surprise. I hit send. And just like that, the noose tightened around her neck. By the time the sun set, I was sitting on the back patio with a glass of whiskey, feeling lighter than I had in years. The house was quiet. No fake apologies. No passive-aggressive remarks. No secret texts buzzing in the night. Just silence. Then my phone rang. Jessica, I let it ring. Then a second later, another call. This time from Ethan. I raised an eyebrow. Now that was interesting. I answered, did not expect to hear from you. There was a pause, a sharp inhale. Then his voice shaky, uncertain, defeated. She lied to me? I took a sip of my drink, leaning back. Yeah, she does that. Another pause. She told me she had money, he muttered. She told me she had a plan that we'd be set. But he stopped, exhaling sharply. There's nothing. She has nothing. I smiled. Perfect. I stayed quiet, letting him stew in his own misery. I wanted to see how far he would unravel. You took everything from her. He finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. She's losing her mind. I hummed in response. Good, he swallowed. She said she was going to fix it, that she had something on you. Stilled something on me. She would not say what he admitted quickly. Like he was afraid he had already said too much. Just that you were not going to get away with this. So this was her game. She was bluffing, throwing out threats, hoping one of them would make me sweat, hoping I'd slip up. I chuckled. Let me tell you something about Jessica, I said, swirling my drink. She always needs to be the smartest person in the room. And when she is not, I took a sip, savoring the warmth that spread through my chest. She lashes out? Ethan exhaled sharply. She said she's coming back. Now that got my attention. She what? She's coming back. He repeated, his voice edging toward panic. She said she's not leaving without a fight that you owe her, that she allowed. Crash erupted from the front of my house. I lowered the phone, pulse spiking. And then Jessica's voice, furious and unhinged, screaming from the other side of the front door, open the door, you son of a bit. Jessica was back. And she was pissed. The crash had come from the front porch. Something shattered. Glass, a potted plant. I did not care. What mattered was the sheer rage in her voice, the way she was pounding on the door like she was ready to break it down. I ended Ethan's call. Another word. He was useless to me now. Another bang. I know you're in there. You coward. Open the damn door. I did not move. I let her scream. Let her humiliate herself. Neighbors were probably watching from their windows, phones in hand, ready to record the suburban disaster unfolding in real time. But Jessica was not thinking about that. No, she was losing it. She was always so careful. So collected. She liked to control the narrative. But not tonight. Tonight she was coming apart. Another bang. Then the sound of something slamming against the door. Was she kicking it? I sighed, standing up. Time to end this. I made my way to the front door, taking my time, not rushing. When I finally pulled it open, she nearly fell forward mid-swing. Jessica looked wild. Her hair was a mess. Her makeup was smeared. Her breath was coming in sharp, uneven bursts. And her eyes, God, her eyes, bloodshot, furious, desperate. Her hand was bleeding. A small cut on her palm dripping down her wrist. She must have smashed something on the porch in her tantrum. Jessica, I said, voice calm, steady, completely unimpressed. You're embarrassing yourself. Her nostrils flared. You think this is over? I exhaled slowly. I know it is. She took a step forward, invading my space, her voice dropping into something low and dangerous. You ruined my life. I laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, that's rich. You did that all on your own, sweetheart. Her jaw clenched so hard I thought her teeth might crack. I want my money, she hissed. I tilted my head. What money? Her hands curled into fists. Do not play stupid with me. I leaned against the door frame, studying her. She was trembling. Not from fear, from sheer, uncontrollable rage. Jessica, I said, voice soft, almost mockingly gentle. You have nothing. Her breath hitched. Bullseye. I smiled, slow and sharp. No money. No house. No future. Just you. All alone. She lunged. I stepped back before she could grab me and she stumbled forward unbalanced. For a second, I thought she might hit me. scratch, claw, tear at my face with those perfectly manicured nails. But then, just as fast as the rage had overtaken her, she stopped. Her breathing slowed. Her face changed. And suddenly she was smiling. It was not a real smile. It was something else. Something calculating. And that's when I knew. She still had a card to play. She tilted her head, voice turning syrupy sweet. You know, she murmured, tracing her fingers lightly along the door frame. We do not have to do this. We do not have to fight like this. I narrowed my eyes. Cut the act. She giggled. Actually giggled. Like this was some cute little misunderstanding. Come on, baby. She purred, stepping closer. We had a good thing. 19 years, right? She bit her lip, looking up at me through her lashes. Do you really want to throw all that away? Unbelievable. She was actually trying to seduce me. As if I had forgotten about the other man, the theft, the absolute betrayal. She ran her hand down my chest, slow and deliberate. We can fix this, she whispered. You know we can. I grabbed her wrist and removed her hand. Her smile snapped. I leaned in, my voice a deadly whisper. You disgust me. Her lips pressed into a thin line. The seduction evaporated. And now? Now she was done pretending. She stepped back, eyes burning with hatred. You want to play dirty? She spat. Fine. I raised an eyebrow. What are you gonna do, Jessica? Call a lawyer? You have nothing. No case. No leverage. No proof. Her smile returned, but this time it was vicious. Oh, I do not need a lawyer, she said, tilting her head. I have something better. And then she pulled out her phone. One tap, one swipe. And then she turned the screen toward me. A video. I frowned. Then I looked closer. And my stomach dropped. It was me. Standing in my office. Sitting at my desk. Talking on the phone. The audio was faint but recognizable. She had been recording me. For how long? My pulse spiked, but I did not let it show. I kept my face neutral. Jessica's grin widened. You think you're so smart, do not you? She leaned in. You're not the only one who can play this game. I exhaled through my nose, slow and measured. What's your angle? She tapped the screen. The video played. My own voice filled the space between us. Just make sure it's all transferred before she notices. My own words. Twisted. Jessica beamed. Oops, she whispered. Looks like you've been stealing too. And just like that, the game had changed. Jessica stood there grinning like she had already won. Like she had just pulled the ultimate ace from her sleeve. I did not flinch. Did not react. But inside, my mind was already racing. She had a video. A carefully edited out of context video of me discussing financial transfers. And now she thought she had leverage. She thought she had found a way to trap me. I let out a slow breath, tilting my head, pretending to be impressed. Wow. You really think this is going to work? Her smile widened. Oh, I know it will. She wiggled the phone slightly like she was dangling a piece of meat in front of a starving dog. You've spent all this time making sure I got nothing in the divorce. But guess what, sweetheart? Her voice dropped to a syrupy whisper. If I go down, you're going down with me. Ah, there it was. Her desperation. This was not a power move. This was a last-ditch effort. A Hail Mary. I stepped forward, closing the space between us, watching as she tried to hold her ground. Let me tell you something, Jessica. I murmured, voice dead calm. That video would not hold up in court. No judge is going to convict me on a chopped-up, conveniently edited recording. She smirked. Oh, I do not need a judge. I exhaled through my nose. There it was. She was not thinking about lawyers or courtrooms. She was thinking about the court of public opinion. Social media. The media. My clients. My business. My reputation. This was not about getting justice. This was about ruining me. Jessica saw the realization dawn on my face. And she lit up. Oh, she cooed. Now you get it. Clenched my jaw. Not in anger and calculation. She thought she had me cornered. But Jessica had never been good at strategy. She was too reactive, too emotional. And she had already made a critical mistake. I nodded slowly, pretending to consider. All right. She blinked. What? I took a slow step back, letting the tension hang between us. Then with the calmest expression possible, I said, go ahead. Post it. Jessica's entire body went rigid. What? She repeated, her voice a fraction tighter. I shrugged. Post it. Send it to the news. Blast it all over social media. Ruin my reputation. I gave her a mocking smile. Let us see how that works out for you. Her fingers tightened around the phone. I could almost hear the faint sound of her nails digging into the plastic case. She had expected me to beg to fold, to throw myself at her mercy. She had not expected me to call her bluff. Her jaw clenched. You think I would not? I leaned in just close enough to watch the uncertainty flicker behind her eyes. I think you have more to lose than I do. She froze because she knew I was right. The second she released that video, the IRS would tear into her like a pack of wolves, and the audit, the one already underway, that was going to expose everything. This was not just about me anymore. She was implicated. Her name was on far too many documents. She might have thought she was clever, but she was still attached to the crime. And if she started slinging mud, she'd be right in the splash zone. Jessica swallowed. I saw her hands shake. Just for a fraction of a second. I smiled. Yeah, that's what I thought. Her lips parted. Like she wanted to say something. But she did not. I stepped back, gesturing toward the open door. We're done here. She did not move. For a second, I thought she might try one last desperate attempt. But instead, her mask cracked. Not into rage. Not into manipulation. But into pure, seething hatred. You think you've won? She whispered, voice shaking with fury. I exhaled slowly, giving her a small, sharp smile. I know I have. She stood there, chest rising and falling too fast, too unevenly. Then without another word, she turned and walked out. I watched her get into her car. Watched her grip the steering wheel so tight her knuckles went white. And then she drove away. But I knew even before she disappeared down the street. This was not over. Jessica was not done. She was going to try one last thing. And I was going to be ready. Jessica was gone. For now. I stood in the doorway, listening to the distant hum of her car until it completely disappeared down the street. I did not move. I did not relax. I just waited. Because I knew her. She was not the type to walk away and accept defeat. No, Jessica was dangerous when cornered. She would come back with something. The only question was what? I turned back inside and locked the door behind me. My pulse was steady, my breathing controlled, but my mind was racing. She thought she had leverage with that bullshit recording. Thought she could back me into a corner. But now she had to reevaluate her strategy. And that made her unpredictable. I grabbed my phone and pulled up my security app. The cameras around my house were active. Motion sensors on. Every entrance was covered. If Jessica tried anything tonight, I'd know. I scrolled through my notifications expecting more missed calls and angry texts. But what I found instead made my stomach turn. Unknown number. You should watch your back. I stared at the message. No name. No context. Just a thinly veiled threat sitting in my inbox. I exhaled slowly, rubbing my jaw. Jessica did not send this. She was many things, a liar, a manipulator, a walking disaster, but she was not subtle. She liked confrontation. She liked control. She would not send an anonymous threat, which meant this was someone else. Someone on her side. I clicked on the number. No caller ID. No previous messages. I smirked. So she had backup. I scrolled again. Another message popped up. Unknown number. You really think you can get rid of her that easily? I sat down, exhaling through my nose. Okay, time to rethink the board. I had assumed Jessica would come back on her own. That she'd try something desperate, maybe a legal stunt, maybe some social media smear campaign. But now I knew she had help. And that changed everything. I barely got 2 hours of sleep that night. Not because I was scared. Not because I was worried, because I was waiting for Jessica's next move. And she did not disappoint. At exactly 7:42 a.m., I got a call from my lawyer. I answered immediately. Talk to me, he said. Jessica's lawyer just sent over an emergency petition. I grinned. There it was. The desperation. What's she claiming? I asked, stretching my legs out. That you've been financially abusive, he said dryly, that you cut her off from her rightful marital assets, froze accounts illegally, and are trying to leave her with nothing. I laughed. That's cute. There's more. I stopped laughing. Go on. He hesitated. She's also alleging emotional distress claims. She fears for her safety. I paused, blinked once. Then I sighed. Of course she is. Jessica was pulling the victim card. She knew she could not win a financial battle. So she was shifting gears, trying to paint herself as a wronged, terrified wife who needed protection from her unstable husband. I should have seen it coming. She's requesting an emergency restraining order. My lawyer continued. She's saying you threatened her last night. I scoffed. I told her to get out of my house. She's twisting it. Obviously, I ran a hand down my face. Is there a hearing? This afternoon, Judge fast-tracked it. I closed my eyes for a second. Jessica worked fast. But so did I. I took a deep breath. All right. Send me everything. I'll be there. 3 hours later, I was sitting in a courtroom. Jessica was across from me, sitting with her lawyer, a prissy little man in an overpriced suit who kept whispering to her like she was some fragile, delicate thing. She would not look at me. Oh, she was good. She sat stiff, composed, quiet, dressed in a soft blue blouse, minimal makeup, hair neatly pinned back. She looked like a victim. I almost laughed. The judge entered and we all stood. The hearing was fast. Jessica's lawyer spoke first, rattling off some bullshit sob story about how she had been cut off, financially isolated, emotionally mistreated, and now feared retaliation. She has reason to believe her husband is monitoring her, controlling her every move and attempting to coerce her into silence. The lawyer said, voice dripping with concern. Your Honor, she is genuinely afraid for her safety. Jessica sniffled on cue. Oscar-worthy. The judge turned to my lawyer. Response. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is a blatant attempt to manipulate the system. Mrs. Carter was caught engaging in a 2-year extramarital affair while actively embezzling money from our client's business. The accounts in question were legally frozen due to fraudulent activity. As for the alleged threats, there is no evidence to support these claims. Mr. Carter has not engaged in any harassment, stalking, or threats of violence. The judge turned to Jessica. She lowered her head, voice trembling. He is lying. She glanced up at me. And for the first time since I walked in, I saw it. The flicker of panic. She knew she was losing. Still, she pulled out her final weapon. She lifted her phone. Your Honor, I have a recording. There it was. The ace she thought would destroy me. She pressed play and the courtroom filled with my voice. Just make sure it's all transferred before she notices. Jessica's lawyer turned, looking smug. The judge listened. Expression unreadable. Then the recording stopped. Silence. The judge sighed, rubbing his temple. Then he looked at Jessica's lawyer. Do you have the full, unedited version of this recording? Jessica froze. Her lawyer shifted. This is the portion most relevant to know, the judge said, cutting him off. He turned to Jessica. Do you have the original, Mrs. Carter? Jessica did not answer. because she did not have it. And just like that, the case fell apart. The judge exhaled, then turned to me. Mr. Carter, do you intend to have any contact with your wife? I smiled. No, Your Honor. Then this request is denied. Jessica inhaled sharply. Her lawyer stiffened. But it was over. The gavel came down. Bang. Jessica had lost. And I? I was not done yet. Jessica sat there, completely motionless. The courtroom had already started to clear, lawyers gathering their things, the judge disappearing behind his chambers. But she was not moving. She was frozen. Because she had lost. She had pulled every trick she had. She had faked tears, played the victim, even tried to frame me, and none of it worked. I stood slowly, adjusting my jacket, enjoying the absolute stillness of her body, the way her hands clenched into fists on the table. I had won. But she still had one more move to make. I stepped toward the exit, ready to walk out of her life forever, when she suddenly shot up from her seat. Wait. I stopped. Slowly, I turned to face her. Her lawyer was muttering something to her, trying to pull her back down, but she ignored him. She was shaking now. But not from fear. From rage. This is not over. She hissed, voice low enough that only I could hear. I smiled. Calm. Controlled. It is. Her breathing shuddered. She stepped closer. You think you've ruined me? She whispered. You think I have nothing left? I raised an eyebrow, letting my silence answer for me. Her lips curled into something feral. You were never supposed to be rich, she spat. You were never supposed to have power. You were just some boring, predictable little man who got lucky. And you know what? That money? She tilted her head, eyes shining with something almost manic. You did not even know it existed until I came along. I just watched her. Let her burn herself out. You do not deserve it, she continued, shaking her head. You do not deserve any of it. Now this was interesting. She was not just angry about losing the divorce. She was furious that I had ever been successful at all. I had built my company before her. I had secured my wealth before she ever even walked into my life. But in her mind I owed it to her. Jessica had always seen herself as the main character. She believed she was the reason for my success, even though she contributed nothing. And now? Now she had to face the truth. She was not getting a single penny. I let out a slow breath, stepping in just a little closer. I did not need to raise my voice. Did not need to insult her. All I needed was the truth. You leaving this marriage exactly how you came into it, Jessica. I smiled with nothing. Her face cracked just for a second. Then pure hatred. I saw the exact moment she realized she had no more moves left. Jessica had lost the house, lost the money, lost me. And now? She had lost control. She turned so fast her heels squeaked against the floor. She grabbed her purse, yanked it over her shoulder, and stormed toward the exit. Her lawyer rushed after her, mumbling something about reassessing options, but I already knew. She had nothing left to fight with. And yet I knew this was not the last I'd hear from her. Because Jessica never accepted defeat. She would find a way to make this uglier. And so I waited. And that night, she made her final mistake. That night, I sat in my office waiting. Jessica was going to do something stupid. She was not the type to accept a loss and walk away quietly. No, she would fight until the bitter end. Clawing at anything she could. Even if it meant dragging herself down with me. And sure enough, at exactly 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Not a call. Not a text. A notification. I unlocked my phone and saw it immediately. A social media post. Jessica had finally played her last card. I clicked it already knowing exactly what it was. A long dramatic post. Full of lies. A picture of us. An old one from years ago, when she still pretended to love me. And beneath it, a sob story so full of fiction. It was almost impressive. 19 years. 19 years of sacrifice, love and devotion, only to be betrayed. Only to be discarded like I was nothing. My husband. The man I gave my entire life to. The man I stood by through every hardship has turned into someone I do not recognize. A cold, heartless monster who has left me with nothing. No home. No money. No future. I almost laughed. She had twisted everything. Painted herself as the victim. Made it seem like I had abandoned her out of pure cruelty. And then at the very bottom of the post, the final touch, the thing that made my blood boil. A link to a GoFundMe. Jessica was begging for money. Not just from friends and family, from strangers. She had weaponized sympathy. Hundreds of comments were already pouring in. This is horrible. No woman deserves this. Stay strong, Queen. We're with you. Men are trash. I just donated $50. I clenched my jaw, scrolling, watching as her lies spread like wildfire. This was not just damage control. This was war. And so I did what I had been waiting to do all along. I sent one last email. By morning, everything had changed. Jessica's GoFundMe was gone. Her social media accounts were locked. Her post had disappeared. And the reason? The IRS. I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee as the news broke. Jessica was under federal investigation. Her fraud, her embezzlement, her financial crimes. All of it had caught up to her. I had sent every last document, every transfer record, every shady transaction directly to the authorities. And they had moved fast. She was not just broke anymore. She was screwed. By noon, her lawyer had called her, warning her, panicking. By 3 p.m., she had tried to call me. And by 5 p.m., a warrant had been issued for her arrest. I stood at my window, watching as the police car pulled into her driveway. She had nowhere left to run. She had no money, no support, no way out. I saw the moment she realized it was over. The way her body stiffened. The way her hands shook as she tried to argue with the officers. But there was nothing left to argue. They cuffed her. And just like that, Jessica was gone. I exhaled slowly, staring at the empty street. No more screaming. No more manipulation. No more games. For the first time in 2 years, my life was finally mine again. And as I sat down at my desk, pulling up my bank account, my company's finances, my future, I smiled. Jessica had thought she was playing chess. But she was never the queen. She was just another pawn. And the game was mine all along.